Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Collegiate Call of Duty League in our grand finals. It's a bracket reset on the line as Concord Maroon in 4 games were able to come out of the losers bracket and hand Texas A&M Maroon not just their first loss in playoffs, but their first loss, period, in the College COD League. I'm Alan Eihold, shift down on Frio. With me is Austin Visions Neal. And well, I'll tell you, my friend, we are in for a barn burner of a match. The first 4 maps could not really have been much closer than they were. And now as we get a bracket reset, our maps will change just a touch, but we'll open up with where we just previously finished. It's Hackney Yard for the first hard point.
Yeah, that's just absolutely insane that there was no veto. We talked about it a bit as we were discussing some of the maps and coming in towards the second Hackney Yard where we just saw Concord Maroon do what they did. They just had their way with Texas A&M Maroon. Yeah. I mean, let's just put it at that. They were able to find some massive big rotations that you just highlighted perfectly when they were able to rotate 30 seconds in towards that P5 hill, flip the spawns heading in towards the favorite side. So just in case that P1 hill wasn't a closeout, they had a closeout for P2. It was just so incredibly done. And you look at this squad that's just been doing what they've been doing today. We kind of talked about how, okay, they have all this momentum. They've been running through the losers bracket where they've taken out Penn State White. They've now taken out, they were able to run through GCU, able to take down Humber in the losers final. So you've taken down so many different teams and had to play so many different styles and had to adapt that you go up against this Texas squad. And it just seems like they're on another level right now. If they can keep playing like they played in that first series, they are on track to potentially be our season 2 champions.
Very well could be the case. Just as a brief reminder, as far as the rosters that we'll be dealing with here in this grand finals, Concord Maroon, everybody is playing at the best I think individually I've ever seen them play. Starting off with Megatron, Paralysis has been clutch. Red Chase with this main AR has shown a different side of him than we've seen all year long, and we know what to expect from Crooked and Trauma. They have been that SMG duo that have been wreaking terror in the Midwest Division, and they're doing the exact same thing here against Texas A&M Maroon.
I am so impressed with Red Chase right now. The sub players have been incredible for the side of Concord Maroon, and their pressure has just been immense, and there has been no real solution so far on how they've been able to actually handle it here for the side of TAMU Maroon. But Red Chase has come in towards this last week. You have to highlight this man because he was not doing these type of things during the regular season. He was not doing these things through the first couple winners bracket matches that they had ended up playing for themselves in those first couple series. But now he has just flicked that switch that we need somebody on the side of Texas Maroon to do besides D'Lo and Landon, because if you don't know this roster, well, D'Lo and Landon, definitely the two that we've been talking about this entire season, what we've been talking about this entire playoffs. And well, you have to look at these two again, but the rest of the three that are with them, you have to be able to back up your 2-star players at the moment, because this whole entire roster from Concord Maroon is not going to slow down. I don't expect them to suddenly come towards a halt with the way they've been playing. And well, if that's the case, then you need to step it up on the other side.
And again, I still do believe, even though we saw Concord play Hackney Yard pretty flawlessly the last time around, this is still a wild card map where even if you spawn on the favorite side, things can go awry quickly. We saw how fast Concord were able to break through that P2 setup off the rip when they played the last time through. Will they be able to find the same kind of success now that Texas A&M might have an understanding and can build the awareness as far as where exactly Concord likes to hit? And I would say maybe even more importantly, when Concord Maroon likes to hit. But as we get past this Hackney Yard hard point, we're going to get a triple dose of Petro in the middle here for both the search, the domination, and the hard point once again. So as you take a look at that, Austin, we have not seen the Petro Search and Destroy yet, although it was slated to be map number 5. These two teams have played on this map before where it went to round 10, where Texas A&M were able to take it 6-4. But as you take a look at that map 2, map 3, and potentially map 4, what's kind of running through your mind on your initial reaction?
What's running through my mind is that the fact that Texas A&M are willing to run back a lot of these same maps, which means that they think that they just simply, lost those maybe due to just some little macro errors, some little errors that they think that they're going to be able to fix, because it's not too often that you see a team lose all of these maps just about and then come back in towards the set saying, all right, let's just run them back again. So you're obviously coming back in towards the set with something that you're looking to change up. So if that's the case, then you really are going to be looking at seeing what exactly they just spent spent this time on. Yeah, they had to go through the process of vetoing, but you also have to assume that they were kind of talking out a lot of those issues that were happening, because this is not the same Texas A&M Maroon squad that we saw in the winners final that was, winning respawns just a little bit more convincingly, that was looking more dominant in these search and destroys, not allowing these mistakes that were happening in this last best of 5 happening towards some of their other matches. So there has to be some kind of a change. There has to be a game plan. If we're sticking with a lot of the same maps, then I expect them to come in with some kind of confidence or some kind of a change up.
And for me, in the most immediate future, the St. Petros search for A&M, they were flawless in search and destroy in the regular season and in the playoffs up until that last best of 5. What changed? They didn't play Gunrunner. They're 9-0 on Gunrunner and Hull. They're 2-0. They were 2-0. Now they're 2-1 on Arklov Peak. But you take a look at A&M and how they found success on maps like Gunrunner, they're just going to run their SMGs at you. So maybe Petro will favor some of that. But I think more importantly, for Concord, they're realizing what Texas A&M like to do on search. They had a brilliant map pick when it came to Arklov Peak in the first best of 5, but now A&M not going to let that come to fruition. We're going to see a Petro and a possible Ramaza, both search and destroys that inherently I do give a slight edge to A&M, but it is just that, a slight edge to A&M, who have been looking flawless in search and destroy up until that last best of 5. So for my mind here, Austin, Concord, you've got to be really solid again in the respawn if you want to try to take the second best of 5 again away from Texas A&M.
Yeah, you got to carry the momentum from the last series right into the first map. I think that's definitely on track to what I'm exactly thinking, because if you have Texas A&M able to kind of just stop all this momentum that's been swinging the way of Concord, then maybe that's your window back in towards the series where you can start to slow things down, start to play in towards your favor with some of the tempo and pacing, because let's be clear and let's be candid, that has not been there for them so far. They have been not dictating the pressure in the actual presence in a lot of these very important situations where Concord has just been clutching up as well, which is kind of a factor we haven't really been talking about. It's the fact that they've just been going big. And I mean, there's obviously times in the map where it's like, all right, you need to go big to break this hill, but it's like, all right, every single time somebody is going big, every single time somebody is just making the right play at the right time, that's just dictating the whole next minute or 2 minutes of how the next rotation is going to play out, how the next hill is going to play out for that squad. And when you just have everybody on that same page, Alan, I gotta keep touching on it because it is just so insanely incredible to watch as a spectator, as a caster, as two players that or rather two casters that love watching some incredible high level talent. That's what we're getting. And Texas, man, you have to look at some of those maps and look back on it and think, all right, we could have done this a little bit different. We need to fix up this. Well, there's a lot of macro things that they're certainly going to have to look at doing. We've seen them do this throughout the regular season. We've seen them do this through the playoff run, but it almost seems like they're being tested. And I don't know if they're going to be able to keep matching the level that Concord seems to bring us to.
Well, the good news is you won't have to ponder that question for too much longer, Austin. We're jumping straight in. Hackney Yard Hardpoint. It's a bracket reset. We've got the potential of 5 more maps before we crown a champion. Or will it potentially be sooner than that? A&M, once again, spawning from the favored side, but look at the change-up. Landon's going to be playing dictated from the middle of that useless building to lock down this rotation. And how about this? Concord find the favor in the warehouse especially, and they get the kill on the Landon. This is going to turn into another spawn
No
flip.
way. How does this happen back-to-back? 10 seconds in. Concord Maroon, so you want to play the same map again? Well, let's do it. Justify has a chance to go big, but Red Chase, he always runs the top useless. He reads it perfectly. The close spawns are in, and they are there. And now Concord Maroon are going to be able to fend out, start to fight for some of this time. Now, on the flip side, at least, the side of Texas A&M have been able to grab the first 30 seconds off of this hill, but finally we're starting to see some contests on towards the garage, as we'll see Crook try and run on through, but he will be shut down immediately from Loathing. Dilo starting to get himself back on track into the pacing like he was doing in the very first map in that last series. But even though the flip does come through at the moment shift, this is a lot of time you're taking off the first hill.
Look, I mean, one of the more impressive things about this Concord flip again was the first time they flipped, it was through the middle of the map. This time they played passively through office. They wait for the kills of the SMGs to come to the warehouse. Then they full flood from the OE. It's just so well constructed from Concord. But that all said, you can take the incredulousness from getting the spawn brick, but you gave up 52 seconds on the first hill. So now you're essentially forced to find a full 60 just to keep this right around an even game. 2 members for the Aggies trying to work their way up the back. Red Chase will be aware of it, but it's a touch too late. And A&M will actually find a way to re-break the setup. And now things get a little bit dangerous here early as Concord are on the outside looking in on a major wave.
Landon finds 3 massive kills, and well, this break coming out is actually going to net them so much time. This Concord Maroon, they did find the flip early on, but they're not able to get themselves into a lockdown setup like they were doing very early on and towards that last hard point that we just ended on this map. But we'll see exactly if the Concord Maroon boys can start to gather themselves in the middle of the map, start slaying a lot of the members that are looking to find these rotational kills, but it's just trades so far. Paralysis, Megatron able to find some big one-on-ones, and it will be a big kill right in towards the P3 hill, so no one's going to be able to grab that initial time. And now the rotation's coming to the right side of the map. The TNM actually have a whole chance to move right through the right side of the map here and play for a potential flip, as you're seeing Dilo do right now on your screen.
Yeah, this is a very risky moment here for Concord as Dilo works around the back. Good help from Decay to take care of Crook. But A&M not fully able to take away time here on P3 as of yet. But here comes the next hit out of the warehouse. Megatron aware of it. Will throw a couple of shots to the smoke, but doesn't fully commit to the angle. Trauma caught mid-reload will be taken down, and A&M will find a way not just to contest this herd hill, but now all of a sudden they're finding a way to find some time off of it, and that's not good. 100 to 33. 18 seconds to play for on P3, and honestly speaking, Concord is on the outside looking in for the next rotation to offense.
Lannon's going to be locking down the right side and making sure no one's going to be able to push through L. He wins a couple of gunfights in a row for himself as he's on a 3 spree, 14-7. Lannon's the big one that's going to step up so far in the very first couple of hills for us, but in towards the 4th we go at the office. It's the initial touch for the side of Texas. A&M Maroon, they're going to be able to break the triple-digit mark and justify. He's on a 5 spree, almost finds 6, but Tilo might be able to clean this one up now as the hip fire is not good. So a big 3-piece is actually going to be responded with from Crooks as he will bust through, find the break in Concord Maroon. Well, they're desperately going to need some of this time.
Gotta hold this, and you've got to hold the P5 side. Still 30 seconds to fight for. You do not want to give this up, but the numbers right now for Concord not all that strong in the hill itself, but Megatron doesn't seem to care. He finds a double up right outside the doorway. Now takes his aim back over to the middle of the map. He's got some help and will take away the angle as Trauma picks it up for him. And as Tilo takes down Justify with a teammate, this very well could be the scrap time going the way of Concord. One more fight, 1v1 in the hill. Trauma not able to win it. So a little bit of time will be forfeited, but again, it's 58 to right around 120 for Texas A&M. Concord, they possess P5, but again, the difference between the first time and the second time that we've seen these maps now, this is not a lead for Concord. They need to commit to taking the full 60 here, and that could cause them to be a little bit shorthanded as far as what time and how many numbers they push for a P2 spawn flip.
We have not seen Texas A&M actually be in great control since that first map in the last best of 5. But we'll see if the break can come in. Loathing tries to take the top angle with a nice jump shot, but will not be successful. So that will be 4 down. Justify is the last one that's going to be able to push, but he needs some teammates behind him before he floods through. Landon with the AR will not have a chance of taking any kind of a shot. So now there's only 25 seconds left, and you have to start thinking about the rotation. But look at this spawn. Look at player number 7 right now, Megatron. He's going to run all the way to the back. And just like you highlighted in that clip at the moment, Alan, they're going to be right in a great spot, but they're actually backing up and maybe giving it in as player 1. Justify will do the exact same thing Megatron was just doing.
Megatron, though, takes down Delos. Now there's only one player left. Oh, Decay and Justify essentially spawn on top of each other, and Dilo gets blessed. So does Landon. How in the world do these spawns come through? But it's still a 50-50. The warehouse is going to open, but no one seems to care about that hard point really whatsoever. A&M will lock down the spawns. Paralysis needed to find at least the second. Won't get the kill. And as Concord realize that they're not able to win the rotation for the eventual P2 spawns, they'll set up a little bit of a fortress here in the warehouse, trying to soak as much time as humanly possible.
And these last 2 hills have been absolutely fabulous for this Concord Maroon squad. They were down just about a hill, but they've brought it right back in control as they will retake the lead for themselves. 130 to 126. There's 25 seconds left on our garage hill for P1, and we could see Decay try and flood this out, but it will be Texas that's actually in control of the spawns. Texas A&M now need to try and get themselves into a strong setup like Concord Maroon was doing, but the last time we were at this hill, there was an actual break that came through for A&M. Now we'll see if Concord Maroon can replicate that, start to move out as they're going to grab themselves a 25-point lead. If they can find a break, this will be so important for how the rest of the map plays out.
Dilo's getting hungry for kills, but maybe he pushes a touch too far. As Megatron and Paralysis find the first 2. Loathing's not in a good spot to watch this rotation through the smoke. Fortunately, does a little bit of parkour to get back on top of the wall and will be able to handle the last member of Concord Maroon who's trying to get there. Megatron tries to play his life, but that's short-lived. 40 seconds to play for here on P2. You think maybe one more good setup and break attempt for Concord to try to get some time, or maybe just contest some time on P2. D'Lo goes to the knife, not going to need it as he gets some help from Decay. And now that there's 25 seconds left, that will be the last full hit for Concord trying to break this hill. You got to think about P3. You got to set up in the middle of the map. And so far, you're watching Loathing take the far rotation all the way back towards the docks building.
Game fairly close, but the scoreboard definitely telling us a little bit of a different story from the last best of 5. Loathing will win his one-on-one as he's closing in on 20 kills to try and rejoin the rest of his teammates. 14 and 23 for Decay as he has a slow start, but that is fine because some of those other members we highlighted are now starting to pick up that slack. Crook will now drop down in towards the hill as some teammates here beside him. We see those spawns that have now flipped out, so Concord Maroon actually going to be able to play the favorite side of the map at the moment, but they need to actually find some kills as D'Lo and Landon are going to open up with 3 in the middle. That will be Landon finding another one as Crook is going to left out to dry, and that will be now another double picked up as we'll see Landon wait very patiently, finds his kill as he's on a 7 spree, 27-19. Finally will be cut down and will be taken out, but this game so back and forth. It's a nail biter once again for a shift as we see 195 to 173, and Texas A&M, well, they're stacking up even more time at the moment.
Neither team has found a significant amount of time here on P3. This scrap 20 is going to be massive, depending on if it does go to one team or the other, or if it just stays contested. All 3 options will lead to a number of potential exits here as we start to go towards the 4th hard point. 198 is where it'll stop for A&M. 179 is where it'll stall for Concord. Loathing trying to work his way in, but it's Paralysis who wins it. But keep your eye on Red Chase. Number 9, him versus potentially Landon could be massive for the eventual P5 spawns. Landon takes the W. And now we look back over to the office. D'Lo up top. He's not able to find the second kill, but the numbers are still good for the Aggies as they get into the hill and move past the 200-point mark.
This break's going to be so important. You don't want to make it too late. Already 20 points gone from this hill, but the nade is not going to be good for Crook as he takes himself out. Megatron now through the middle of the map. Might have to make a heroic play as he's going to have to find a couple of big kills for himself. But Paralysis and his teammate have now actually joined together as they'll try and duo hit and pinch this out. There's a lot of members from Texas, though, that are waiting for this. But a big double comes through for Paralysis. Loathing responds with a double of his own, so they will still hold on towards this office hill, but not for long, as we could see Texas now actually rotate right over Texas A&M. They were in a great spot shift. They can close things out as we see Loathing start to build up a spree as he finds number 6.
A&M are not giving up any ground, not in the new hill, not in the old hill, nothing to be found. Loathing on 7 as he throws some shots into some bodies. There's number 8 trying to piece together number 9. A nade will finally do the job to get him off of this streak, but it doesn't make a difference because the Aggies, they've already set up in P5. But as I say that, here come Concord Maroon. They find themselves 4 straight. The trade is there, and the spawn flip comes through. Number 9 in Red Chase. You cannot afford to take this rotation yet. You cannot give up 4 seconds worth of time. And honestly speaking, P2 is not going to make a difference. It's going to come down to what happens in the warehouse if Concord can hold on to the final 20 seconds.
Everything has to be flawless. That's it. It has to be flawless. We'll see if they can try and be flawless. As a few more players will try and slip through enemy lines to see if they can grab the remaining 4 points. And well, that is it. There's no one to be on the hill. Megatron has to back up, but you now have to find this rotation shift. Yes, they're going to grab the remaining of this point, but there's still 4 points that has to be collected. Landon is top L. He's in a great spot to start cutting players down as he's doing on your screen. He finds Megatron. D'Lo finds Crook. No one is close. One player can try and bust through, but Decay will pre-fire it, and that will be a big map 1 and a big statement game in the second series from Texas A&M.
And the Aggie for him sounds across the speakers. Hullabaloo, A&M get themselves a map 1 once again. But man, a major solo play coming through from a bunch of individuals from Texas A&M to make sure that not only did they secure that rotation, it was a 50-50 going from P5 over past P1. And man, I'll tell you, it really just came down to a handful of really blessed spawns that A&M say thank you very much. They get the P2 break, and then at the end, the long spree of A&M kills to make sure they held on to most of that P1 time at the very end to close things out. But Concord, again, digging deep, trying to make the comeback happen, just come up a touch short here.
And that scoreboard for Texas A&M Maroon, that's a totally different story, and how a lot of those scoreboards were looking after those last 3 maps that Concord Maroon were able to piece together for 3 straight. And despite it being a little bit of a different story, that's still a very tight game. But 4 players on the side of Texas A&M drop over 30 kills. That's a difference maker. We were questioning, well, why are they actually deciding to play this map again? Well, it looks like that's why. They did end up fixing some things. And also, I do believe that, they also were able to maybe get on towards a more favorite host for themselves, maybe perhaps too. But either way, 4 players now dropping over towards 30 kills. That's exactly the form that we had kind of expected coming in towards the first best of 5 as a whole, which was not the case for us. But heading in towards this map too, we put a lot of emphasis on the St. Petrograd at the moment here, Alan, and seeing it now played is exactly for as far as what Concord Maroon are going to be able to do, because we expect this to go the way of the side of Texas A&M just based off of their history in this game mode.
I mean, yeah, the history of the game mode, I think more than the history of the map mode combination specifically to mention. But the biggest concern that I have here, and the one major threat that Concord needs to deal with, is if A&M start to hit aggressively with their SMGs on offense, specifically towards A, can they deal with it? We saw them try to pull up that strategy in Arklov Peak, trying to hit towards B, trying to hit aggressively through Trench at A. It didn't come to fruition because why? Concord could just play off their AR setups. That will not be nearly as secure on a map like St. Petra. So as I kind of talk about how do you neutralize that threat, you're looking at Crooked, you're looking at Trauma. They've got to turn up with the SMGs if they run one. Crooked has been running an AR most recently and the S&D, so maybe even it'll be Megatron who picks up that SMG if he doesn't snipe. But I'm going to be completely candid with you here, Allison. I very much so expect him to snipe for the first couple of rounds.
Oh, I hope we see that boomstick, because if you missed that map number 2 in Arklov Peak, Megatron was pulling out 1v3s with that sniper. But that's a great way to start the first defensive hold, as QSEM Texas will actually find Landon and Decay. Megatron wins his one-on-one against Loathing. And, well, in just a matter of seconds, it's all up to Justify and D-Lo to try and play things out slowly to see if they can start working some picks.
Slowly, it's going to have to be. And both players of Justify and D-Lo are playing from the same angle. D-Lo trying to give some sound cues, hoping he can open up an opportunity for a 1v1. Does grab the bomb, but Megatron is watching it very mindfully, and he'll find the easy kill. So now it's Justify for what would need to be a full ace. Won't even get past Megatron, and that'll be the first round for Concord and Maroon defensively.
Just a perfectly timed round. Able to throw those lethals just at the right place at the right time. Finds a lot of those initial kills. 2 players drop before they can even really move in towards the site and actually start to look to go for a complete retake for themselves. Was not the case. And now we switch sides over towards Concord Maroon, as I would love to see them kind of throw that curveball. It's so traditional, of course, to go towards A, but let's see Megatron work a snipe in the middle of the map here. Try to go top pool hall, and then work maybe the bomb over towards the right side of the map. They are fanning out a little bit, so they might not just totally dedicate a hit right in towards A, but the bomb has been brought over here. There's 3 players stacked up, but there's also a lot of players on the side of Texas, A&M Maroon, just waiting for that potential hit that could come through for B. But there's the call. We've seen them do this a lot of times, and they're going to try and move fast and swift over towards the right side of the map.
Here's the problem, though, Austin. They have no information on who's here, so you're seeing Landon lock down the angle. He takes down 1. He finds himself a double. Chase isn't there for the trade, and Landon just changes his position. I mean, I get what you're trying to do if you're Concord, but you have to send someone to search for a little bit of information somewhere first. And now you've got to be worried because the Aggies are on the flank as Decay pushes through A. There's nowhere for the Mountain Lions to go but down from here. Chase will watch 1 go top rail. Dila will bait out the shots. And, well, Chase, good luck, friend. Here come the free-fire shots. Here come the multiple angles. And the Aggies will find a flawless round, tying things up 1-1.
Off the back end of Landon and his 2-piece. I think he found at least 3, maybe even 4. Red Chase, no chance. Had the bomb at the very least, but everyone's busting through doors coming to say hello. And, well, both offenses not going to be successful so far for us. And, again, coming back to the point of when are you going to look at changing things up? If you're going to throw in those risky rounds, you might as well do them very early on. But at the same time, we have seen a lot of success come towards the A site for this Texas A&M Maroon squad. They're going to try their chances again, hopefully this time maybe with the trophy system, as they do blow up the nades. So they won't have to worry about the car blowing it up, but the nades still come through, this time in their favor, as they will have the man advantage very, very early.
D'Lo again starting to hit the gas a little bit here. Able to find one more into Megatron. I don't know if he's fully up in the apartments yet, but he wants to get there. Crook will realize it. We'll try to bait out a sound cue, and now you're looking at Paralysis. He's got to get here. He's got to get here quickly because Crook is getting naded from every single direction. None of it will connect. And at least fortunately for Crook, he's got the dead silence to play with. But can Paralysis share that luxury? Over the top, Decatus takes the challenge. And Paralysis not quite able to get there in time. A&M able to find the first successful offense, and they go up 2-1.
The sticks of their guns come right over towards the left side. Do it once again. Find the 50-50 trades in their favor after a lot of Semtexes and Lethals get thrown out, and Loathing going to find that final kill cam for us. Striking first on the offense is going to be Texas A&M. Now, Concord Maroon looking for a response round on the offense as well. Watching for Megatron to see if he maybe decides to pull up that sniper, working through the middle of the map. There's a lot of different things you can do on this map with some smokes and with the sniper presence. Once you find a kill or two, then players stop peeking and opens up the mid lane a little bit. So that is something that you can potentially play towards if you're Concord Maroon. But this is something that they do a lot, Shift. They kind of wait out some Semtexes and nades. They throw the trophy system down. They'll throw the smoke like they're either going to hit it if they find that first pick, or they give themselves the option to rotate out. But while all that's happened, Landon is now one-on-one. Trauma is also flooded in for a kill, but D'Lo will follow it up onto Red Chase, and this is just looking like it's completely up in the air. Crook is left alone in a 1v4, which will now be a 1v3. He has some time to work with, but he is not in a great spot.
And you know, again, for Concord Maroon, you play it safely. You don't want to give up any information. You don't have maybe a trophy system ready. You play passively in the billiards hall. Wait for those nades to come through. But what does that mean on the back end? You're giving up a lot of space in front of the A site, which Texas A&M Maroon are just able to take away from you very easily through the small room, up close and personal near the apartment door. So many positions that normally offensively you can at least contest, if not just flat out win because of the timing. You're giving that up for free. And if you can't win your individual 1v1s up close and personal in those hot spots, that's the kind of round you expect to see in favor of our defenders. And A&M able to idolize that nicely. And you talk about Landon, he was big in the first search and destroy previously on Arklov. He's already 6-2 here in the Petro.
Concord Maroon not finding that flow that they were getting themselves into on Arklov Peak. Landon was going to play this one slow. He's going to fire off some shots as he waits for someone to dare to peek him. Justified the first bloods. They have been solid so far for Texas A&M. They're going to find another one in round number 5. And you can just play this patient, or you can just look to move this right towards the right side of the map. They have cleared out the middle. There is some great control. D'Lo's watching the rotation for anyone that's going to rotate off this A site. So there is a big potential for some rotational kills to come through. Decay will find the second one of the round. And now Concord Maroon at a massive deficit. This is all up to Megatron and Crooked.
Honestly, I'm a little bit wondering why A&M just doesn't swing this bomb back over to A. You've got the time to play with. You should figure that Concord have members that are stuck up in the hazmat building. This is a quote-unquote more dangerous plant than just going back to A, but the numbers are good. And unless the bomb can be stopped from being planted, Crook will find the kill, but teammate can't win his individual one. And that'll lead to A&M now up 4-1 here quickly in the Petro. And for Concord Maroon, the biggest narrative that I can speak on right now is that you're just giving away so much of the map.
And these first bloods, I mean, that's also something that's been
that too.
It's been incredible. Like, we are not seeing those first bloods come through in that Arklov Peak search and destroy that we're now seeing on the St. Petrograd search and destroy. And well, there's a reason that we've seen Texas A&M Maroon be such a consistent search and destroy squad. They're displaying it on stream for you at the moment. The scoreboard reflects on what they've been doing. They're up 4-1. Concord Maroon, they're looking for a big round to try and keep things within 2, because if this one gets away from you, you go down for 3 at a round point. Things are going to look tough. I do love the play of trying to switch things up, but it just does not swing in their favor. Justify ends up grabbing a massive 2-piece. The first blood is there for them again, and now they're fighting from a 3v5.
Well, I hate to mention the time at which it is in West Virginia, but it's past midnight. Is this Cinderella story coming to a conclusion as Texas A&M Maroon look to potentially close out this 5th round unless Paralysis can find a cheeky win somewhere in the backside of B? Justify playing super passively in the very back corner of the map. Paralysis will now cut back over to A, and you can see both the Aggies that are around the bomb seem to know that it's been dropped, as Loathing and Decay are just holding tight angles and playing for each other's trades, which you think should be enough with only 30 seconds to go. Paralysis, no more dead silence. And well, you're going to have to find these kills and find them now. If you do win up both these kills, you will have a chance to get the bomb planted, but again, the information's just not here, and Paralysis is caught in a 1v4.
Finds the first kill for himself. I find the second kill shot's just not going to be there. As the bunny hop going to hold strong. That's a lot of rounds in a row that have not been responded from Concord Maroon. You see Loathing find those shots right on top of the car. As he's found a lot of success coming off that map 1, now translating perfectly right in towards map number 2. Texas A&M, well, they are not messing around anymore. They decide to play back a lot of the same maps that they lost previously, and they are just on track for making those adjustments and making those changes and getting themselves to a potential 2-0 in the second best of 5. Concord Maroon, you can mount a comeback, but it all starts obviously right here. You have to put a stop. You have to stop getting blooded. That's a good start as they're finally going to get themselves the first blood.
But the pinch is coming through here, Austin. You've got Decay on the backside. He's found himself one. The trade is there. So that's pretty fortunate because the collapse timing was really good for the Aggies, honestly speaking, but the gunfights were just responded to that much quicker for Concord Maroon. But it's D-Lo in a 1v3. If there's anybody you want, you feel like it'd be him as he's 5-1. And he's going to maybe try to bait the rotation to be and come back over to A, but diligently holding their ground is Concord Maroon as they take a second round away.
The offenses, that's been the problem for me. Concord Maroon, they have actually tried to switch things up. The last offense, they tried to allow Megatron to play up the middle of the map with the smoke, but it was shut down by Justify. He found the 2-piece, one with the kill on with the assault rifle itself, and then a second with the nade. But what do you do if you're Concord Maroon? Do you full hit something fast? Do you wait patiently? Do you try and work a first blood in towards your favor? Those are the questions that I'm asking heading in towards this offensive round because they've had little to no success, not finding a single round on this side. And this might opt in for a changeup, but they're going to try a standard hit over towards A, try their chances with some 50-50s as the smokes are going down. They're running on in. The entry fraggers are going to be coming in very, very shortly as Megatron might be that first one. Stuns go through. There's already a player going to be up in the boxes. Crook's going to find a good movement. Will he be able to find this kill? The trade is there at the very least, and Trauma also finds 2. Megatron finds himself a kill. This will be a massive retake as they will take down all 4 members defending A, and it's all up to Landon. He does find himself 1, but will have to work his way through 3 more.
Grief, Landon, trying to say something there, friend. Smokes paralysis and throws a little bit extra in the afterlife there. But regardless, Concord Maroon, they get the bomb planted. This would be a technical 1v4 for Landon. Hold your horses. It's a 1v2 now. Landon already making a lot of progress towards the site. He's got both bits of utility to work with, too. He's going to get information off that stun. He's going to check the top side of apartment. Nobody here. He's with the lockdown Red Chase up top, who's just barely able to get behind the box in time. The Semtex should flush him out. Does it find the kill? No, it doesn't. The regen comes through. Landon, he's still got a chance for a 1v1. He knows exactly where Chase is, and he wins it. Does he have the time to get there? It's going to be darn close, but I think he just barely missed it, and he absolutely will, but landed for a 1v4, misses it by the skin of his teeth.
Concord Maroon, I'm telling you right now, they're sweating. They are sweating after that one, as I'm sweating after that one. 5-3. 2 rounds apiece in a row. That last one not clean whatsoever, though, let's be honest. Landon has a chance to almost close out the map number 2, but literally just a half second late on the defuse, or it would have been a closeout in 6-2 fashion. So another round we will go, and Concord Maroon, more importantly, as much as it's not clean, they do at least find their very first offensive round. They've looked a lot more solid on defense, so this is still looking great, but D-Lo is going to be the one that actually pulls out the sniper. It's not Megatron, and he'll try and work a pick through the middle of the map.
But no one's giving him any opportunity. They heard the shot ring out, and everyone's just going to hold their corners, but Landon finds first blood into A. Now it's 2 members completely split from one another here for Concord Maroon. D-Lo's going to take the sniper into the site, considers the window, considers the archway. Will anybody peek him? Concord, how disciplined are you here? They know that one of the players is in the back left corner. That's Red Chase who's back there. Shots are coming through. Landon's got a Semtex. You feel like he's going to toss this one out to try to flush him through. Shots will be spammed, and they're just going to play the numbers. And again, for Concord, nobody is here to deal with this, to try to find the trade. And now it's just down to paralysis, a 1v5. Sure, he's on the flank, but he's also going to have to find the bomb to defuse as well.
First one-on-one goes his way, takes down the sniper player, but now all 4 arrows are going to turn, and paralysis, this is going to be a tough challenge, my friend. It's a lot of players aiming you down. That's the closeout, 6-3, and that will be Texas A&M going up 2-0 in the second best of 5.
The composure for A&M right here that we're seeing in the second best of five is what we know to expect from what we saw in the regular season, although it was a limited amount of time that we got to see them on stream. I think just by the names at large and what we've seen from the playoffs, every kind of inkling of an idea as far as what is making this A&M squad so strong is absolutely come to fruition, is showcasing itself here once again. So 2-0 in the maps is A&M. And this feels familiar for one reason and one reason only. This was the same score differential in maps that we saw in the first best of five. And now it's going to be down to Concord and Maroon to try to complete this Cinderella story in the most emphatic way possible. A reverse card will have to be on the cards here for a reverse sweep will have to be on the cards here to try to get their way back in and take this championship away from A&M.
Tall task with the way that they've been adjusting here in the second best of five. And in a lot of ways, I almost just thought that we would just see this Concord Maroon squad just translate right over doing the exact same things that they're doing. That's not the case. Texas A&M, they got a very strong mental. They got some very big experienced players that are able to kind of get everyone back in towards the game plan. Listen, this is what we're trying to get back on the same page with. They're able to do that in the first couple of maps where they were both pretty convincing for the most part. So into the domination where we have seen this, you touched on it, and seeing the way Concord Maroon played that last one, there was a little bit of chaos that erupted, but when they got off that first side on the unfavored side, they were up by 11 points and they transitioned that into a perfect swift second side where they were able to pull away with the lead in the end, just holding on to the one flag. That needs to be replicated once again. Kind of similar how I said map number one needs to be replicated, but this one definitely needs to be, obviously, as you are facing elimination within season 2 playoffs. You might see a potential 3-0. I wouldn't count Concord Maroon out, though. With the way they've been playing, they still should have enough in the tank. I'm hoping to try and give us a good competitive map number 3, as they've been doing a great job in this game mode and map type throughout the majority of the day. They had made those adjustments from when they played it earlier from Humber when they dropped that map. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to do that once again.
And the other side of things, looking back objectively at the first time we saw this map mode combo happen in our previous best of five, it was scrappy. There were some moments where both teams really were lucky to get the spawns that they did because the anchoring around the C flag was not as strong as maybe you would hope to expect. But beyond that, for A&M, they were not only able to find a ton of kills early, where it really did feel like A&M was in the game that first half closer than what it actually was. But beyond that, Landon had an atrocious first 2.5 minutes. And you don't anticipate that's going to happen twice. That's like seeing lightning strike twice in the same spot. And those odds are not very high, especially with how Landon has been playing in this best of five specifically. So for me, Concord Maroon, I hope that you were able to at least talk things through before this best of five started, saying, hey, this is where our biggest gaps were when we played this map mode combination before. Let's not tinker or change too much, but let's make sure we're kind of paying a little bit of extra attention to A, B, and C. For me, it came down to anchoring the C side. It was a little sloppy for both teams, but for Concord Maroon, if you're going to be so objectively focused, you cannot have any gaps when you're starting or when you find yourself in favor of that C flag spawn.
Yeah, and the big difference that we also saw was just the middle map control that Concord Maroon were able to hold for the majority of that time. As much as there was chaos, the spawns were coming in and out across the map and maybe very difficult to track in a lot of those instances. It was just overall, majority of the time, B flag was in control of Concord Maroon, and that was off the back end of their submachine guns getting towards those positions that were just so perfect for them to kind of play that thorn in the side and always pinching and not knowing what angle they're going to hit you from next. But we're not seeing the submachine guns kind of firing on that same level that we did see in that last best of five. So now they know I raised the question on whether or not they're going to be able to keep up that same mid-map control, which is obviously so important on a map and game mode like St. Petrograd.
100% the case, but we are waiting for our lobby to kick off here in just a moment while we have some time. Again, if you're brand new to the CCL, we hope that we've made you a fan, at least enough to follow the channel and check us on Twitter at CollegeCod. But as far as the prizing goes so far, the prize pool amount is undetermined as it comes down to what was an initial starting fee based on team entries to get into the league, but it has been bolstered and boosted by you, the fans and viewers, as every donation to the stream goes directly to the prize pool for these players. And we know there's been a ton of gifted subs out there. The money from those subs go directly towards operation costs, like, again, what was used to make this very incredible production package, as well as hosting our website and everything else that we have to do financially to make sure that this runs successfully. All of that sub money goes directly toward there. So if you have contributed to either of those things, we thank you very deeply. And if you're considering, We would love to have you be a part of this little community we've got going on here at the CCL. Yes, this is our season 2 culmination. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to be pushing hard to see if we can get kind of a brief summer series in the mix that won't just be limited to our season 2 teams, but maybe to more teams that are looking to get involved before we dig into season 3, which again is going to be a long time from now. It always feels like a long time. Usually our seasons don't start up until the spring semester of a year, so we'll be waiting until next January to start season 3. But again, we try to do as much as we possibly can through this quote unquote off season, through the summer and fall, to get things going. We are waiting for our lobby to fully populate. So instead of sitting here and giving you the PSA and the self promotions, we'll step away for a small break. And when we come back, we'll be jumping right into map number 3. Don't go too far. We might be crowning a champion in the near future. Welcome back, everybody. We were just about to go into map number 3, but we will set things to a small reset. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're about ready, like we mentioned, to go to that St. Patrick domination. My whole shift with me is Visions. And after Concord Maroon, we're able to, in electric fashion and very narrow fashion, send things to a second best of 5. Things are not looking as positive for them here, as they need a reverse sweep if they want to steal this championship away from Texas A&M. To be fair, the Hackney Yard, extremely close. The St. Petro Search, not as much. And so far in this quote-unquote best of 3, because they played in winter semis, Concord is 2-0 versus Texas A&M in the domination. But that's just about where the good news ends.
Yeah, there's not a lot to take away from that point on, but at least you can start it right here, right now in the map 3, where you've already taken a win off of the squad a little bit earlier on and towards that best of 5. But it's all about replicating exactly what they did and touching on some of the key things that you had highlighted before we went towards the break, which is making sure that you're anchoring at the appropriate times when things get chaos, making sure that if you have that C side, that you're holding it for the majority of the side. All these basic fundamentals that these teams have been practicing for such a long time now all come down to the wire in this very important matchup, where you're either trying to close out things as Texas A&M, which is the hardest map of them all, is the closeout map, to make sure that you do actually solidify yourself the championship if you're able to do it. But on the opposite end, we have seen Concord Maroon backs up against the wall, 0-2 down, and they've been able to mount themselves back in towards the series in that winners final that we've also talked about. So I'm not worried for Concord Maroon coming in towards this map number 3, but I think for the side of Texas A&M, they're definitely looking to end things now. If they don't, then I mean, Concord Maroon, they could slowly but surely work their way back in towards it, starting off with a hard point. But you're going to need some of the key players that were popping off in that last best of 5 to really kick it up a notch heading in towards this one.
Yeah, and again, there were some sloppy moments for both of these squads the first time around that they played it in that previous best of 5. Have they found a way to maybe tune those things up and make sure some of those moments don't slip past them, especially when they spawn on the favored side of the map? And as much as we were ready to go, we thought, there is that cliche saying that third time is the charm, and we're hoping that's indeed the case here in this one.
Yeah, we are hoping that's the case, as we did just change up the lobby a little bit, so players going to have to take a second to regain before we do start that back up, but gives us more time to break down the matchup. Yeah. And coming in shifts, you know, I think there was a lot of predictions that Concord Maroon, if they were able to take the first series, then maybe they're going to be able to take the second. But Texas A&M, there was also, I think, just a good amount of 50% of those predictions also saying that there's no way in hell that Texas A&M lose now a second best of 5, where they opt in to play the same maps for the most part. They have adapted, they've changed. The macro looks a lot better. They're cleaning up some of the micro, where some of these individual players are now actually performing where they weren't, and it isn't just the D'Lo Landon show. They do have Lando show. You know, they do have some other players that are able to also step it up and go big when they need to. And we just didn't see that exact same scoreboard kind of reflect what Concord Maroon was doing in that very first series. So there's a little bit of inconsistency that we've had through both of these teams, and that just draws more and more question marks and more questions for as far as, you know, exactly what we're going to get from either one of these squads heading in towards the map number 3.
To be fair, too, we haven't touched on it at all through the broadcast, but it's been a long day for players on Texas A&M Maroon who have gone through and tried to play through the Challengers Cup. Obviously, mentioning D'Lo specifically, who I believe finished top 16. I didn't get really a chance to track down what happened in North America, but you know, again, that's where a lot of his attention has been throughout this entire day. It looks like so far the fatigue has not been an issue, but now we're getting past the 1 a.m. hour. So you want Championship Sunday? We technically have it here. Texas A&M Maroon trying to close things out in this third map. They'll be spawning on the unpreferred side, and D'Lo will find first blood by way of Semtex as Megatron was trying to work his way out of the courtyard, landing with a follow-up, which will put a small pause to Concord Maroon trying to capture this B flag quickly. But A&M also taking their time, saying, let's play for another round of kills before we make a go for this.
Yeah, they're not going to force the hand. They're just going to wait patiently, and it's paying off so far as they're actually able to come out in favor in those trades. D'Lo grabs himself too as he's starting to pick up the hot hand. So far, so good. Decay's getting tagged up behind line, so he's going to have to play his life before his teammates are going to be able to come and back him up. But Concord Maroon now, they've actually came back off of their spawn, so they might be able to look for a strong, dedicated hit as Decay will try and stop a couple of these players, but from the pinch from D'Lo, will grab himself a big double. This opens up the B flag potentially as it will be secured, so A and B going to be in favor of A&M.
On Trauma, that was the position that you need to be if you're an SFG from the C side, and Conqueror nearly get to top side of the restaurant, but can't quite get there. Smokes will embellish most of the front side of the restaurant. Crooked, he wants to make his way through, and Crook will find the kill. But still, with all of that in mind, Texas A&M Maroon just barely able to capture the B flag, have not lost a single inch of progress on it at all, and with that, they will take a little bit of a lead here, 21-14, as Concord makes their first good hit to try to resecure this B flag.
I snap one up top. Crooks now needs to try and combine for maybe a multi-kill, but not needed, as he actually does move in and ends up getting it anyway. Decay is there for the trade, and can see Decay actually make a big play. Tries to hop right on the flag. Not sure if that was the right play. He didn't have a whole lot of assistance with him just yet, but following that up will be Justified. Tries to go for a drop shot. That will be no good for him. So B still going to be just in favor of Samu for a quick moment. D'Lo wants to try and grab the secure on this completely, as that's a lot of red that's pouring in towards the feed. Paralysis is combined for a double kill for himself. Red Chase throws the trophy down, throws the pistol out, but the shots are not good, and D'Lo now has responded with a big 2K for himself in the middle of the map. It's a lot of trading, it's a lot of back and forth, and it's only a 2-point game, but finally Damu Maroon are going to hop on this B flag. They try to get it, but as I say that, Shift, Drama comes in with a big 2-piece to stop it.
Still undecided for playing COD or Tug of War. Everything has just been going from left to right in the middle of the map. Decay trying to change that up as he's trying to make a play maybe to get through Hazmat. D'Lo trying to re-secure the B flag, and as Decay finds two, that should be the committal to capture this. Another member will be there to help try to secure the point, and with that, it will be a capture for Texas A&M, but just as that happens, who is it? It's Paralysis knocking on the back door, and he will be able to find a neutral, but while all of that has occurred, a long rotation for Trauma through the backside of water has got him to a neutral, nearly a full cap at A, and it also forces the Aggies to spawn P1, the last place you want to spawn.
Decay winning this one-on-one was so massive, because if you lose this, then maybe you do see the triple cap, because that player can maybe look to play his life. Not the case. Landon up top wins a one-on-one up close and personal with the assault rifle, but will have to do more work. Tagged up, won't be able to peek right away, but his teammates and his subs are starting to push out the middle as Justify has grabbed himself a 2-piece in the middle, now jumping on the flank for the neutralization, but the Megatron with the knife will shank a couple members, not allowing it to go over, and that cleans up the rest of the members as Crook runs in. The teammates are backing on towards the map in this middle map control that I highlighted during that pause right before we jumped in towards the break here is starting to be highlighted once again on the good side.
And again, the second quarter was where Concord really stepped up in the first half the last time we saw them. They're doing that once again here as Red Chase up top of the window will lock down a double before Texas A&M Maroon could even touch the B flag. And now again, for Concord, 5v5 starting to break loose in the middle of the map. Trades coming back and forth. You'd be careful here if you're Concord. You don't want to let anybody slip through, especially since you're spawning P1. But A&M, they don't have the numbers to fully commit to getting through to C. So Concord, very wisely, will let the neutral come through and maybe even allow the secure to come through in order to lock things down from the C side. And now you've got numbers. You can once again try to get to B for a late neutral. 45 seconds to play in the half. And we're right on par to potentially end this up with a draw.
Big work from Trauma as he found 2, now 3. He's on an actual spree before he's cut down. Justify up top is going to help and make sure no one's going to throw their body on towards the B flag. So with the last 30 seconds, we're going to see now a potential triple cap. Maybe B What breaks out for us, Justify is waiting for that shot along the back wall. He's not going to go for the full capture. He instead wants to try and play his life to make sure that no one's soaking up time. But with information now over towards the opposite side of the map, this is going to allow him to move in. Good spawn from Red Chase is going to be able to find this kill. So it's just going to be a chaos along the last couple maps as Trauma finds a kill in the middle. Going to bring us to a pretty close game, however, leading in towards side number 2. Not too shabby for the side of Texas A&M Maroon as they will hop on towards that good side now, just behind by 7 points.
Again, it was just 11 points that Concord were up the first time around, and now the other side of things is for Texas A&M from the unpreferred side, you're just down a handful of points. So you see a world kind of existing here in the next 5 minutes where, again, this tug of war kind of continues in the middle of the map. I want to see Megatron off the rip if we possibly can here, Benji, because last time they spawned on this side, he played without any cause for really any concern at all, just straight over to C. There's the smoke. Here comes the Semtex dead silence. You feel he's actually not going to toss the Semtex. He won't be caught by the stun, but Landon will throw out a semi, and that'll be enough for him to find the kill. But in the middle of the map, Concord will find a couple of kills to make sure that this B flag at least stays neutral.
We want to keep it neutral for as long as possible, but Dealer's been able to get top restaurant. Not before he shut down. Crucial kill coming here for Red Chase with the AR, who's now going to be able to piece together a couple of kills. Loathing's the last one really up in the middle before he's going to have any kind of assistance and help until he wins his gunfight. Now Justify is with him. They're starting to flood in towards bottom restaurant, getting in towards these very nuisance areas where you can constantly look to peek this B flag from a lot of different angles. And this will be the side of Concord Maroon trying to play back, but C flag is open. Player number 9 could look to move right in towards top hazmat and help with B, or he can look to back up one more time and hit C. He's got a couple different options, but Decay is starting to have his way with Concord Maroon. Finding a big double that opens up things a little bit more. B is still going to be in their hands, but C is finally now going to be captured as we'll see the 2 flag be secured here for the side of Texas A&M.
And Trauma made the right call. He finds the neutral and realizes that my team is not winning the middle of the map. I have to come back and help. Corrales is able to sneak around through the middle of the map. Will also be there to kind of reiterate that same point. And now you stack the B flag, you neutral. You didn't fully capture it though. Megatron is going to try to sneak this one away, and he's able to grab it. Loathing is making a play from the backside of restaurant, number 4 on your minimap. Keep an eye to see what he's able to do. Is Justify from the front will actually pinch things up. And now for Concord, you have to give up the B flag. Do not allow this Texas A&M Maroon squad to get into the restaurant. And Crook, he's actually found a couple, tries to go in, but Dilo catches him with a knife. Now once again, the SMG gets a lot of the work done, and Texas A&M will reestablish themselves with the CB hold.
Kilo is just going to rush it right up towards the top. He's had a long day, but he's not done. He's got 27 kills to his name, and he's looking to stack up just a few more. Megatron, Red Chase, finding some kills that drop down for us, and we see B that might just swing back over in favor of Concord Maroon. The neutralization is there. The kills out front are good for Trauma as he's slaying around and roaming and doing his job. Throws down a trophy, stays alive, tries to find Dilo. The shots are shaky and not good, so Dilo able to combine for a couple more, 29 and 16, as he's not going to get the full-on secure, but it's 98 to 103. Just simply 5 points at the moment here separating both of these team shifts. There's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We're getting in towards that fourth quarter. So these 2 caps that are coming in for one of these teams, these are going to be so differential and so important.
B flag does just barely get captured as Loathing secures it before falling. 104-107, 2 minutes and change to play with. Justify trying to go into the middle of the L hall. That was the spot he needed to get to, but Crook will deny it. Numbers here for the Mountain Lions. Concord will quickly make their way back over to be looking for a neutral. 110 to 110, and the neutral will come through. 2 minutes to play with. Concord Maroon, they have some numbers, but they haven't fully cleared the middle of the map, and Justify and Landon will find a couple, but as they do that, both will fall. Red Chase for all 3 members, but he will not be able to commit to get into the B flag. 145, a dead even game, and no one feels healthy enough to grab the B flag.
Red Chase found 3. He's on a 4 spree, 20 and 13. Will he be able to piece together a couple more? The shots are not going to be good. He goes for the reach out, but it's read perfectly as the nade comes through. So B has been secured from the side of Texas A&M Maroon, and they are going to take the lead with 1 minute and 20 seconds on the clock. This will call for a bit of desperation now for Concord Maroon as they are just on a timer. It's a ticking time bomb. You're fighting for everything. You're fighting for the whole playoff run in the second best of 5, but they are moving towards C. This could open things up for a shift. The second player is with them. Look at the spawns. They're over towards P1. If they can win this gunfight right towards the right in the tunnel, it would be big, but he draws back the pressure. There's the cap, and now they're going to see if they can play out the middle of the map as they head over towards B.
Nothing about that play. As soon as Concord realized they're responding A, they didn't really even care if they fully took the C flag, because now the whole effort has to come to B, but they're not able to secure things in the middle of the map. It's Loathing. He's found 2. He's on, what, 5, 6 straight now, as he's still insisting topside restaurant. 38 seconds left to play, and Loathing continues to find kills. 7 straight. Last chance for Concord. They not just need the B flag, but they also need a neutral, and Loathing's not going to slow down here, Austin. It's going down to championship moment. You have to, if you're Concord, find the B flag in a natural right now. Landed from the side. We'll find one, not a second, but the time is not in their favor. Texas A&M Maroon, they're about to take Season 2's championship. There's not enough time, not enough points left to find. The Aggies, let the war hymn roll, as Texas A&M Maroon will be your Season 2 champions.
That last minute 30, that's when things turn off for the side of our Texas A&M Maroon squad, your Season 2 champions. They go to the second best of 5, but they do not mess around in the second best of 5. They close it out in what is a very close game number 3, but there was just not enough in the tank for this Concord Maroon squad to do what they did in that first best of 5. They could not translate that in towards the second. We see the rotation of the same maps come through, but Texas A&M, they made those adjustments that we talked about that had to be made. They looked fantastic. D'Lo stepped up and went big across just about every single map, made the difference. We saw D'Lo in these last 3 games. That's what we were missing in the last 3 before. That was the difference for me, Shift. An incredible second best of 5 that we just got to see.
Yeah, it will read as a 3-0, but I'm right there with you, Visions. That could not have been any closer, with maybe the exception of the Search and Destroy, which Concord were starting to claw back into late. But A&M will be your Season 2 champions, and they were the favorites through our top 25 polls pretty much throughout the entirety of the regular season. The only team to really be able to take them down just a peg, just for a moment, was Concord Maroon, our definitive top 2 teams without question. But it's Texas A&M that will be your new champions here for College COD and wear the crown going into Season 3. Man, Visions, I have no idea where else to take this conversation. It was an incredible display. Concord, I will say this, condolences out to everybody in Athens, West Virginia, but that was the most incredible Call of Duty I've seen these guys play since we had them in the CCL.
I agree. That was phenomenal. Just watching those guys jump out and towards the map the way they were, the decision making was just on another level. And you can't take anything away from this squad. You know, just getting themselves in towards the second best of 5 to begin with, up against such a stacked lineup, 2 players, you know, from last year competing at champs to taking them in towards what was a very close 3-0, as you already highlighted. But what a fantastic season that we got. Both these teams went flawless during the regular season. They go in towards playoffs where they go up against each other in the winners final. Concord drops down, makes that fantastic run through Penn State, GSU, and Humber, dominating fashion, just making a name for themselves like they've been doing this entire year. And they go in towards this where they give us a fantastic grand final. I'm just out of words at this point, Shift. Just incredible. It's been a long day. It's been a long night of playing Call of Duty, and I just can't think of any better way than to spend my time.
Well, hullabaloo to Texas A&M, but one more accolade that we have to pass on is your finals MVP. I mean, come on. There's only one player in our mind, I think, for most of us. D'Lo able to lock that up as voted upon by our staff that's been watching very avidly throughout the entirety of the playoffs. I mean, there's not enough that you could say about this individual player. He's been absolutely insane all the way through. I mean, this was, again, one of the things that when we saw this Texas A&M Maroon roster at the beginning of the year, we said, wait, they've got D'Lo and Landon to play together on the same team. I do not want to fight up against those guys. And, well, D'Lo absolutely showed off, even though he had a couple of frustrating moments, maybe in the search and destroyed the respawn. You can't speak enough about he was absolutely electric.
He was electric. He was on top of everything. And even coming in towards the search and destroy on the second map, he still was able to get a lot of work done where he struggled on Arklov peak in the last best of five. So I got to agree. I mean, how do you not give it towards D'Lo? He drops 42 at that very first hard point that we play on towards St. Petrograd. He repeats the process in towards the Hackney Yard when they play it the second time. He gets redemption. He's able to get revenge, shows everybody that he can play Hackney Yard with the squad. And well, he can make some light up moments happen like he did time and time again. But incredible battle of these clash of these both of these teams, the first and second seed, clearly our two favorites throughout this entire bracket of all 32 teams that we had coming in. And just what a phenomenal finish. And the fact that we saw Concord Maroon dictate the first series, and they were just controlling the tempo, the pacing, the pressure. There was unmatched whatsoever, and then completely flips on its head. Texas A&M Maroon were able to repeat that for themselves, where they were showing us why they've been dominant, why so many people had them winning the entire bracket. Well, they just showed us why in those last three games.
And I will say before we do our sign off here, if you guys enjoyed everything through playoffs in the regular season, or if you just tuned into these grand finals and you want to see potentially more action like this, get on Twitter right now at College Cod. Say summer series when? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point. We absolutely need to see that come through. But I'll tell you, I mean, again, this has been an incredible regular season and more incredible playoffs. And none of it could be done without all the people behind the scenes, and especially all of you out there as a community. Just for me personally, a massive thank you. It's been a lot of fun. At the end of the day, it's all COD, and we love COD,
Right.
Austin. We absolutely love COD. The CCL always hold a special place in my heart, and you saw why. I think tonight, hopefully, we gained a handful of fans throughout the regular season, and now especially here in playoffs. But Visions, I've got to get a final thought from you as we wrap things up here with season 2.
My final thoughts is, this is my very first year on the CCL team. And I just kind of want to add towards your point where there is just an incredible amount of passion behind the scene. And I mean, there is incredible amount of passion within the players, everybody that's within this entire community. And this is like a community that I've never been a part of in my entire life. And I'm so happy that I got to come in towards the scene and do all of these casts for you guys, all the players. Thank you so much for tuning into this, because it has been absolutely incredible. And there is so many people that work tirelessly to make sure that the stream goes on, to make sure that players are playing their matches, to make sure that all of that little work that goes unnoticed and happens off stream is happening. So there is just an incredible amount of talent that we have here within the CCL, and there's so many hardworking people that are just willing to do anything to make sure that the show goes on and that it's always improving. So I also got to give a really big thanks, and it's been incredible meeting and casting and everything along the lines with this entire team. And man, like you talked about the summer this is a potential summer match where we have some more games coming through. I sure hope that's the case, because I absolutely love to be right back on here casting over these players.
Well, hopefully it won't be too long. But for now, we'll say farewell. A massive congratulations to your Season 2 champions, the Texas A&M Aggies, with their Maroon squad. Hopefully it won't be too long before we see each other again. But as always, until next time, hope you keep holding it down.